Hello everyone, I'm the Vacuuminator,
I'm Buster.
and this week in Toku we're going to be discussing Rider Distribution, Dawn Fragrance's unexpected return, and all kinds of Hasbro silliness. But before all that, well, I'm not going to ask what you've been up to and how you've been doing, Buster, because I'm well aware, and I think anybody who's in the know with us is well aware, but I just want to say, I hope you come out of this feeling better, and I hope this podcast is a good time for you, buddy, because I know it's been a rough time today.
Yeah, it's been a wild day, to put it lightly. If you want to know what happened, just freaking check my Twitter.
And if you're listening to this like 3 years later for posterity's sake, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I should be over by now, hopefully, or at least
it'll be a distant memory for most of us by then.
Yeah. Anyway, how are you doing, Mr. Cuminator?
I'm okay. It's been a very long day. I had a bit of a rough workout this morning, and then I was really sore and tired all day at work, and I had to do extra shit, and that thing happened, which threw me off towards the end of my shift, and I almost didn't get everything I was supposed to do done by the end of my shift, and then, coming home, I was so tired, I had to keep biting my lip to stay awake in the car, and then my normal route was blocked, so I had to go the long way home. So it's just been a fun day.
Yeah. Hopefully that all worked out for you in the end. Just like
I still got home and got to make myself some tasty chicken. So
the tasty chicken from the Tasty Chicken Factory.
Yes. Oh boy. But hey, folks, if you enjoy this podcast, if you've been listening for a while, or even if this is your first episode and you're getting into the spirit of it here with TWIT, you want a weekly tokusatsu podcast, please support us here at Modular Media so we can keep going. Give the video a like, comment down below with some of your thoughts on topics we'll be discussing later in the show. Subscribe so you get every episode delivered to you in your sub box, and hit that notification bell if you want it in your email inbox and all that good stuff. Every week, new episode of TWIT, unless there's no tokusatsu to talk about or something major happens. We've also got other shows here on Modular Media. There's Analytical Fanboys, where we tackle very specific media things every week. That show is making its triumphant return from an almost 2-year hiatus with a discussion of Chainsaw Man on Friday, so you won't want to miss that.
We talk about Top Brothers a lot in that episode.
We do, actually. And we have the No Prize podcast, which is a live podcast every Sunday night where myself and Boingo Writer discuss comic book related stuff. And then we have Components, which is a semi-weekly series. We take 1 week off a month to do AF, but we just hang out, we shoot the shit, we talk about what's going on in our lives and what's on our minds, and occasionally there's a guest along for the ride. But that is everything that happens on Modular Media. If you're interested in that, please support us. Please follow us on social media at the Modular Media on Twitter, r/Modular Media on Reddit, and modularmedia.tumblr.com. And that's all the plugging and tugging I got to do for today. Let's get on to some news. And our top story this week, the Black Blu Ray from Discotek, the Kamen Rider Black Blu Ray, I should say, shipped early. A couple weeks early, and certain people got it in their hands. The particular link I have here is from funny Twitter man Speed Racer Flubber, longtime fan of that guy. Check out his content if you haven't. But he posted a video as soon as he got his copy, showing that on the last disc of the Black Blu Ray, the bonus features disc, there is a subbed teaser for Kamen Rider Black RX, which basically all but confirms that Discotek is planning on releasing Black RX, and in fact, they are having a stream as we're recording the show tonight, so there could be another Black announcement moment, but maybe with slightly less screaming, because we're expecting it this time.
Yeah, like, they already basically teased, because usually Discotek, they do teasers for their, like, big streams of, like, announcements, and they already put the Shrek clip, I Need a Hero, and Black RX's theme is Wake Up the Hero.
That's
It all
wonderful.
lines up. It all lines up for Black RX. It all lines up. The stars
Mhm.
are aligning. The Black RX apocalypse is not among us. Is upon us.
Yeah. I mean, I talked about Black RX a lot last year. I don't love the show. I think it's a pretty flawed series, but there's good moments in there, and it's fairly iconic, especially to Western fans, because of Masked Rider. So definitely want to see it get distributed over here, and just because it's Japanese media that doesn't have legal streaming over here or DVDs, so that has needed to happen for a long time. And I'll be very happy to see it happen when it does, regardless of my opinion of the show. And yeah, also, just like, hey, there's always news links down in the video description. Anything we discuss, I've got a link to a source for it. So if you want to go down in the description, uh, check out Speed Racer Flubber's reaction video to the teaser, because it is fucking hilarious. The way he
Yeah.
says helicopter is the best thing I've heard all week.
Yeah, he really funny guy. He knows what's up. And also,
Yeah.
what was it? I was gonna say something. Forgot what I was gonna say.
Well, you're going to get to say a lot of things coming up now because I'm not fully in on this whole
Okay.
deal, and this isn't something we would normally cover, but it has been such a debacle and a talking point in the tokusatsu community of the West this last week. Uh, Basically, to my knowledge, the translation on the Kamen Rider Kuuga manga Western release has been rather poor, and a lot of people are very upset about it, and it's been a whole thing. Buster, why don't you flesh that out a little
All
bit
right, let
for
me walk you
everybody?
through the Kamen Rider Kuuga manga saga, and just the Stonebot Kamen Rider saga, I guess, because they also do the 01 comic.
Oh,
So I
oh.
guess we can finally get, because we talked about it on No Prize. I know you talked about the 01
I've
comic.
talked about it on No Prize. I
All right.
hated the first issue and haven't read it since.
Yeah, and I saw previews of this. Let's walk through a timeline of events. So around, I think, either 2021 or 2020, Stonebot got the license to do Kamen Rider 01 original comics and translate Toshiki Inoue's Kamen Rider Kuuga manga. All right, the Kuuga manga would at least be like that. That should be a solid fire hit. Cut to 2022, 01 comic comes out. It's trash, like worse than normal for a Kamen Rider product.
Everybody feels out of character. It takes way too long to explain everything multiple times, and the art is just bad. Like Greg Land levels of bad, and a really obvious, really poor
Feels like it's for
Photoshop.
nobody. It feels like it's for nobody, honestly, because it's like it feels like it's trying to be like, oh, for fans and newcomers, but it just doesn't work for either. It just watch the
Yeah.
show. It's on Tubi. So but it was like, okay, that was trash, but the Kuuga manga would be a surefire hit. I mean, we saw previews and the translation and the previews look good.
And I
Cut
mean, he's
to
in a movie. They put that boy in a movie. He's got to be good, right?
yeah. So cut to the freaking physical release. Everybody gets it. And Mars Girl in specific, I think Mars Girl is like the big one popping up the she and
I thought that was like more her signal boosting her spouse because he was the guy who was really into it.
they were both doing like equal
Okay.
measures. Uh so Mars Girl and Josh Like the First, they were talking about the Kuuga manga online, and all the translation from the preview pages and the actual physical print is way off. Like it's all machine translated, apparently from a Spanish fan translation. People are assuming because Stonebot does have Spanish roots. So that was a whole debacle. And then freaking the writer of the 01 comic, who I also must add to his ever hit list of bangers, wrote Transformers Siege. It's actually his profile pic. Freaking commented saying, "Well, you just don't get it, and it's gonna expose fans, new fans, younger fans, to the source material." Just no, whoa! It's people weren't even complaining about it exposing fans to source material. They were complaining that's a poor way to expose fans to the source material. And so Stonebot did like a non-statement. Everyone got pissed at them. Then they did a better statement and like kind of backpedaled on their initial non-statement. We'll try to do better. We're gonna retranslate this. We're gonna like do some quality control. We don't know what's gonna happen next. That's up to Stonebot to actually do good.
Yeah, that sounds really nebulous and not great, just as like a passerby. Because, like, if you're going to do an updated translation, are you going to send free replacement copies to everybody that bought the first edition? Because I would think that would be in order.
Yeah, like freaking Tylenol. Just I don't know what they're gonna do next, and honestly, I don't trust them because
Yeah.
they've made a big ass of it.
They're
And
two strikes right now.
yeah, and I think Toei and Stonebot should be ashamed of how they've handled this shit. Toei had like no quality control. They just like shat it out, just gave some random company of like barely any clarifications the license, and then
I mean,
Stonebot.
I don't want to get too mad at Toei because they probably just said like, "Oh, you want to give us money to release this? Sure, here, sign this paper." But also like, yeah, Toei should probably like check into who they're working with on things like that.
Yeah, and Stonebot should take better care of this precious IP, the Kamen Rider license, that
Hmm.
like is like trying to make up waves of Toei themselves wanted it to make waves in America.
I
Everyone,
mean, clearly you see that people care about this and are passionate about it if you want to license it for a new demographic.
yeah,
So why would you not take care of it?
it's terrible. It's bad. I don't like any of this. Stonebot
I
needs
mean,
to.
I'll admit I've never had any intention of checking out the Kuuga manga. I was happy it was going to get a release for the people who wanted it, but I think this, like, as a passerby, as somebody who didn't really care about this, hearing about this and seeing the discussion of it, like the amount of people who were firing back at the people pointing out how bad the translation was with, well, at least we have an official release, that really disgusted me, and I went on a little Twitter rant about that. Like, if, like, yes, I complained earlier this month. I made a big video about it really sucks how slipshot Kamen Riders releasing has been in the US these last few years, and how there's so many gaps and it's been done in such a weird way. But one nice thing I can say about everything we've gotten up until now is that the translations were pretty good. Like, I have taste issues with some of Shout Factory's subtitles, but the two sets I have, I like the translations for the most part. They get across the ideas, and I don't feel like they're screwing anything up from my limited knowledge of Japanese. But there needs to be better quality control. If you're gonna release something in the West that is of a different language originally, you need to put in the effort to give it a good translation. End of story. If you're not doing that, you're making a bad product, and your company deserves to lose money and eventually go out of business if you keep doing that.
Legit. It's simple as that. Simple as that. And like you got companies like Discotek freaking like putting so much love and care into their translations and bonus features. Freaking you do it
Mhm.
too. And also why
Yeah, because
make a
that's the
better
other thing.
comic
By
book?
all accounts, the Black Blu Ray is really good, from what I've heard from people. And the Ryuki Blu Ray also released early this week, and I've not seen like a bunch of reactions, but from the few reactions I've seen, it turned out pretty good. And hey, that I don't know if they listened to me or if that was the plan from the start, but they actually put different printing on one of the discs for once.
Yeah, at least the disc that mattered, the movie disc, to like differentiate it from the show, you know?
Yeah.
Like I feel like that now at least if you're gonna do one different disc printing, just do it the movie disc. That just makes
It's
sense.
the bare minimum, but I appreciate it nonetheless.
So that's the whole Kuuga manga debacle.
That is the great Kuuga manga saga of 2023.
yeah,
For now, we may have an update on this later.
yeah, in like 5 months. I don't know. Just Discotek already did their first announcement. It's not Toku.
Okay, want to talk about some toys?
Oh yeah, I love toys. I bought one.
Okay, we now have full solicitations for SH Figuarts Shinkocchou Seihou Kamen Rider Faiz, and it looks like a figure of Faiz.
We already talked about this.
We talked about the initial reveal. We didn't have as many detailed images last week. But yeah, now you have the full solicitations. You have the price, which is going to be 8,800 yen. It's going to be releasing in August. And it looks good. Like I said last week, I don't see a huge improvement over the original Faiz figure art, but that's because the original Faiz figure art was pretty dang good, in my opinion, from what I've seen of it in like images and reviews and stuff. But I do like the big new change they've made here, where there's still different versions of the changer phone. There's one for the gun mode, but then there's one for everything else that does actually flip out. You can use it as a cell phone communication device. The belt is actually geared, so you can do like the charge up and all that.
Ooh.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good use of premium toy money, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, because to my knowledge, on the original Faiz Figuart, I think the belt was just a static piece, and it also came with a separate phone that was just stuck in the gun mode. So that's a nice improvement, in my opinion. And of course, it's going to come up with all his other different Faiz gear and attack nubbins and all that kind of stuff. So if you like Faiz, this is probably going to be a pretty good figure. So go get your pre-orders in if you do that.
Yeah.
But speaking of Faiz, we have more info on the complete selection modifications, Kamen Rider Faiz, Faiz gear, Faiz driver gear, and actual version 2. This is releasing as 3 different ways you can get it. You can get a complete set with a carrying case, the gear box, I believe it's called in official terminology, and then you can buy the driver and the gear separately if that is to your wanting. These are also going to release in August. The complete set is going to be 52,800 yen, and then like what you would imagine to split that up is what the driver and the gear are going to be. But to go along with this, we got a little video of Faiz actor coming back and promoting the item, messing around with it, as does to happen with complete modification. Doing Kamen Rider stuff, and Faiz had its 20th anniversary last week. That seems like he's still very much on board.
Oh yeah, I mean he came back for Geo, the Tyson movies, like the Faiz cast are probably of all the Heisei Phase 1 cast the ones that always come back. Vac,
like Heisei versus Show.
You're breaking up a bit. It's not working.
It's going in and out. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, now it's working.
Okay. But yeah, it was nice to see him again, and like most Japanese people, in my opinion, he has aged fairly gracefully, but I do agree with everybody on Twitter that's saying like his current hairstyle along with the frickin' jean jacket he was wearing makes him look like a Showa rider.
I mean, it's cool. It's cool. I think it's cool.
Yeah. He's a good looking dude, and it's nice to see that he's still enthusiastic about Kamen Rider. But that's enough classic Rider stuff. Let's talk about a little bit of current Rider news, which is the DX Kamen Rider Geats support mission box type Geats and DX weapon raise buckle set has been announced, which we talked a little bit about this making its first appearance in the show last week. The Gigant shooter and now Gigant cutter and Gigant saw weapon buckles are going to be coming with this sort of like Geats personalized storage box that they've been doing a bunch of these for the Geats toys, and it's mainly compatible with the powered system movie roleplay toy that Geats has been using a lot in the show the last few episodes, but they can also be attached to the show regularly as regular weapon buckles, but they unlock the same sounds as the big buckles, which I think is kind of cool. That's a nice twist on the smaller weapon buckle format.
They look neat. That's all I got.
Yeah. It's not something I could see myself super going after, because I don't have any Geats roleplay stuff yet. I think the line looks really neat. I just haven't had the money or interest to go in on it yet. But looks like a nice addition to that toy line. But that is it for Kamen Rider news. So let's move on to...
You never know what'll happen.
Excuse me.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, we could get slapped later in the show, but let's talk about some Sentai news right now. Along with Faiz this week, we got the full solicitations for SH Figuarts Shinkocchou Seihou GokaiRed, and oh my god, this thing is fucking gorgeous.
It's pretty.
It looks like a massive improvement over the original figure. Like it has some very similar proportions and joint layouts. But, like, just the fact that they gave it these really robust butterfly joints so it can cross its arm without having to do a replacement part thing like the original. That is so cool. And I also really love the tiny Ranger key it comes with. Um, because I think the original just came with a Mobirates and Ranger key that were gang molded together so you could pose it like he was doing a Gokai change. But now you get the full suite. You get the regular Mobirates, you get a Mobirates that's activated, and you get a regular key and a key that's activated, and that's pretty sweet. This is going to be releasing in June. And it's going to be 9,350 yen, and it's going to be a general release, so it should be pretty easy to get a hold of and fairly affordable. However, I want this. I do really want this, but it's very up in the air on whether I'll get it because June is kind of going to be a really expensive month for me already because like every week there's 2 movies coming out I want to go see.
Yeah, the summer season of films, just summer consumerism will eat you up.
Yeah,
Why did I do that? That sounded very.
I don't know. I don't know. Capitalism be crazy and Vax wallet be tasty.
And my mouth be lazy. Anyway, let's talk about freaking in-jokes from press conferences from over a year ago now.
Yeah, so this was kind of a wild thing to see get announced, but I had to put it in the doc. There is going to be officially licensed Dawn Brothers perfumes based off of the main free Sarah brand. This is from a company called Fairy Tale Perfume. I've never heard of them before. I don't know anything about perfume or cologne. I'm a lazy white guy who doesn't do a lot of dating. But the fact that this is happening is just fucking hilarious to me because for those of you who don't know, back at the Dawn Brothers press conference, they did a couple of gags to like fake announce the next Sentai to be goofy, and one of them was they had the Sarah brand actors pretend to be the stars of a show called Dawn Fragrance. So a part of me feels like somebody saw that joke and went, "Oh, we can make a product out of that."
Yeah, it's just nice little deep cut, especially because the Dawn Brothers press conference is probably the best Sentai press conference. Like, there's no debate. I
mean, they actually tried to put on a show rather than just go, this is what the show will be.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think Kamen Rider press conferences have kind of done that before, but I haven't really seen, like, a Sentai one ballistic like that. Or maybe the Curimation kind of had a good press conference. I don't know.
But yeah, these look neat. I definitely won't ever be getting them. Like I said, I'm not very into perfume or cologne, and I'm certainly not into licensed perfume or cologne because all the ones I've ever seen reviews for tend to be crap. So, not that I'm assuming these will be crap, just like I don't want to take the risk on importing weird licensed cologne or perfume or whatever you want to call this. But it exists if you want to get a hold of it somehow. You'll probably need like a weird middleman service because I haven't seen like Toku Lectables or anybody putting up a pre-order.
Cowards.
All right, let's get into some Power Rangers news. Well, this is kind of this is Power Rangers and Sentai, but it's a nice crossing point for the two because a third-party company called Lucky Cat has solicited what they're calling Microcosmos MC-03 Beast Lord, which is very obviously meant to be the Mighty Morphin Dino Megazord. This is basically an unlicensed third-party product that is doing sort of a semi-original design based on that original design. It looks very similar, but there's a few embellishments and changes here and there.
Like making them roller cubes.
Yeah, honestly, I think this set looks really neat and very fun, but like, I don't buy unlicensed third-party Transformers, so why would I buy an unlicensed third-party Mighty Morphin Megazord when I don't even have a licensed Mighty Morphin Megazord at the moment?
Honestly, if I had to pick a Megazord, this is probably the one I would go for, just because it combines simplicity and it has the nice wings, the hot toys, or like not hot.
That was Flame
Flame
Toys.
toys. Too many hot fire-based toy lines. Like like hot toys. Yeah, they're. I love the wings on their Megazords. So it's like this has the Megazord, and it's like how much?
Hold on one moment.
So you can
The
pre-order it from Toku
article.
Collectibles. Let me check. It is. It's coming out June 23rd. $35. No wait, that's a deposit. $85 is the full payment.
Still, though, that is fairly reasonable for a third-party product, because third-party Transformers tend to be anywhere from, like, $40 for something that's, like, as small as a toy Hasbro would price $10 to, like, upwards of $1,000 for a figure Hasbro would probably charge, like, $200 to $300 for.
Yeah, it do be that way
Because
sometimes.
it's a smaller company. They don't have the official license, and they're only probably doing a limited one-time run of this.
Yeah.
The toy industry be wild, folks. Like, for anybody who's worried that this might not happen because Hasbro could sue these people, that's not going to happen, because it's almost never happened with third-party Transformers, because you're able to get away with this kind of stuff because while it is based on the same design, it's an original design. All the sculpting here is unique. They have unique engineering to do the cube modes and a few other things. So Hasbro could only really sue if it was like a modified version of a mold Hasbro has released of the Dino Megazord. If this was like somebody taking the Zap Megazord and making a few minor changes to it, then it could be risky to pre-order this. But I think this will definitely come out and happen. So if you're interested in it, I say go for it.
Yeah. I'll look into it, but I'm not like 100% sold on pre-order. I just think that's a neat toy, you know?
Yeah, it looks fairly neat for another Dino Megazord.
Yeah, I know. But well, it's 30th anniversary, so maybe everyone more accepting of MMPR these days.
Yeah, but let's get into some official Hasbro Power Rangers news. First and foremost, we have in-hand photos of remastered MMPR Blue. I normally wouldn't talk about this kind of thing because once a figure is out, everybody knows what it looks like because there's like 5 or 6 reviews. But this is kind of a special thing because this is a new thing in the Lightning Collection, and we've all been fairly interested in and or excited for it. And there's a few new things we learn here. Like the Power Blaster is actually a new sculpt. They updated it to be Blast Effects compatible, which I think is really cool. And the head joint is actually a multi-joint barbell system. So there's a ball joint at the base of the neck and at the top where the head plugs in. So you're going to be able to get a lot more expressive than regular Lightning Collection figures can. And the printing on the morpher that he comes with, that he can hold in his hand to do the morphing pose, is actually really detailed. You can actually make out the power coin on it, which I was not expecting. I think that's really nice. The updated head sculpt looks pretty good. And just overall, I think this figure looks really worth it. Again, I understand for people who are just MMPR'd out, I can be one of those people sometimes. But this is such like a complete update and an improvement on the original Billy, which I did have for a while but ended up selling. I think it fully justifies being a new release, being for the 30th anniversary, and being more money than the original because it comes with so much more stuff, and there's so much more improvements to the details and the joints. Buster, do you have anything to add on this?
It looks fine.
This is what happens when you podcast with a toy nerd and you're only casually interested in toys.
I mean, it looks okay.
All right, let's talk about something a little more interesting. So I wasn't even aware of this, but apparently, up until just this week, we did not know who sung the Power Rangers Lost Galaxy theme. I always assumed that information was just available somewhere on a wiki, and I never cared to seek it out. But apparently, it was a big mystery in the fandom until just this week when somebody, Joshua Aaron Moore, or Kentucky Jam on Twitter, did an interview with Jim Cushioneri, who is a musician that did a lot of work towards the back half of the original Saban Entertainment era. Primarily Zio through Space. He did a lot of insert songs. Like the song I know him best for is the Zio insert song Big Bang. Though he has a couple other ones, like I think Here Comes the Power Again is one of his.
Was Big Bang the one that was overused in Zio? Because there was like one that like kind of kept annoying me throughout my Zio watch through.
It might be. I'm not quite sure. It's the one that it definitely plays during that first fight after when they go and fight Cogs for the first time. Yeah. But I've always been like a casual fan of his work. Like I think most of his songs are fairly solid.
Lost Galaxy's opening is a bit mixed, though, I'd say. Yeah,
Lost Galaxy's opening is kind of muddled. And to clarify, he doesn't say he composed it. The interviewer here, Joshua, just played a clip of it for him, like, hey, this kind of sounds like you, or I think he said, I've always thought this kind of sounds like you. Could you confirm, because we don't know who sung this song, if this was you? And he went, yeah, that sounds like me, and I was doing a lot of stuff for Power Rangers at that time, so that's probably me. So basically, at this time, it is pretty much confirmed that Jim Cushioneri is the vocalist for the Lost Galaxy theme song.
The vocals aren't the problem, it's the lyrics. The lyrics just don't flow well. It's just like, it feels like a
whole song doesn't flow well. Like, it feels like it's two different songs mashed together.
It feels like, to me, it feels like a bad anime English cover, where it translates too literally. Like, it's too literal. It doesn't get the heart of the song. It's just too literal because it just wants to be accurate to the original subs. Even though that is not the case with Lost Galaxy. This is an original composition. I don't know what happened there.
I mean, I do think the bit where it goes, go Power Ranger, Power Ranger, and then there's a bunch of
those are good.
That is a really good bit, but the rest of it is just what?
Yeah, just like the one says, here lies a key, like that. That's the part I'm like,
far, far away to a galaxy you'll go.
Yeah,
okay,
it's too clunky. So there's the Power Rangers music critique of the day for you all.
Yeah, I'm glad that mystery got solved, even though I wasn't aware of it. I always like hearing about stuff like that. But moving right along, just a quick little thing here, but a very awesome thing, which is that RPM, Power Rangers RPM, is now available in its entirety on the official Power Rangers YouTube channel. So yeah, I think that means like there's only a handful of shows that aren't available legally at the moment, right?
All of Disney era, all of Saban era, all of Zordon era, basically seasons 1 through 17 plus Dino Charge and Dino Supercharge are all on YouTube. So next,
so they got to put up Samurai, Super Samurai, Megaforce, Super Megaforce.
Also Ninja Steel.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll do Beast Morphers because that got removed on Netflix.
Yeah, they probably should. Yeah. But no, RPM's great. We talked a lot about RPM last week. RPM is really good. If you haven't seen it, go watch it.
Well, it's my favorite Power Ranger season for reasons that are not to what the fandom says, because the fandom is ass.
I think it is definitively the best Power Rangers season. It's not my favorite, but it's the one I acknowledge as like, yeah, that is the most well put together season.
I still think the second half kind of might pull it down for.
It's definitely weaker, but I don't think it's as much of a drastic drop as people make it out to be.
I don't know. Like, then again, like, you haven't seen it in a bit, and I just watch when you like binge all of it through. It's like it kind of the second half is more notable, you know.
Buster, the first time I watched it, I did binge it all through on Netflix.
Well, maybe your memory's hazy. Dang it.
But yeah, that's all to really say on that. So let's go ahead and move on to a little negative chunk of news, an annoying chunk of news, I'll call it. First and foremost, people have finally been getting Lightning Collection Dino Charge Blue Coda in hand. And most of the reports have been fairly positive on the figure. I mean, that Dino Charge body was just a solid figure, my favorite of Wave 1 back when it originally came out. So finally getting the last of the main team that we need on that body is really nice. However, we have so far had one, but one is still prevalent enough that it's worth talking about, report of a quality control issue with this figure. Somebody on Twitter reported to Living Ranger Key just earlier this evening, as of this recording, that they got two left hands with theirs. Two of the alternate left gripping hands were in the box, as opposed to a left and a right hand that it is supposed to come with. And this has been a persistent thing with the Lightning Collection lately. We've talked about it a couple times, but they've been having a lot of quality control issues with parts either being missing or the wrong ones, and some figures flat out coming in the box broken. And we've also talked about why that is. There's apparently no like dedicated QC overseer at the factory in Korea at the moment, and they're trying to hire someone for that position. But like, this is like what, the 12th figure in a row now? It's really ridiculous that this is still a problem. And I hope that they are working towards or have corrected it for all the figures we have coming in the pipeline at the moment. Because, like, if there's QC issues on the level that we've had recently with the remasters, I'd be worried that could tank the line.
Yeah, like, okay, sorry, we got distracted a bit. The QC issues. Now, I recently watched a video by mutual of the channel, Sound Out. He does great toy and DVD videos. I really like them. And he just did like a Lightning Collection in 2022 retrospective, and he was very annoyed by the QC issues that were happening.
Oh yeah, Josh plugged that, and I meant to watch it and forgot.
Yeah, he also did a great Marvel Legends thing, which is basically you and Sound Out are like the only people I hear talk about Marvel Legends. It's how I get most of like news on that stuff. But anyway, so like, and he mentioned like he was very frustrated with the QC issues, and it's like holding back what otherwise could be a great line. And I'm like, I'm right. Like the picks are getting better, but the QC issues are holding these amazing picks back. You know, like that.
Yeah,
like, it's just
like. This hasn't deterred me from wanting to get Coda. Coda's like one of the few non-Red Rangers left I really wanted. But like, it is disheartening that this is still a problem.
Yeah, frustrating, and especially with like one of my faves.
Yeah, because flat out, Coda's the best Ranger in Dino Charge. He's my favorite character in that show, and he's my favorite second. And he's my second favorite Blue Ranger overall.
I could see it. It's just the best, like, just one of the best characters ever, like, legit.
Yeah.
Not ever, but like in Power Rangers. I should clarify.
Yeah, he's a good boy. Yeah. He's a good boy. But now for something even more annoying. Hasbro has announced that they are laying off roughly 1,000 jobs, which is 15% of their global workforce.
Can I go first?
I guess.
Yeah, because you're gonna have way more to say than you're more. Now I know, like a lot of companies are doing this because of the freaking recession panic. I understand that, but also, come on, this is frustrating, especially at the beginning of the year. New year, I guess I don't have a job. Hearts out to everyone who got laid off. Hasbro isn't making themselves look great between this and the D&D fiasco.
Yeah, they've been having a rough first month of the year. There's been a bunch of debacles related to Wizards of the Coast that we don't really need to get into, but yeah, I've heard about them and they seem pretty bad. There was a lot of quality control issues with a lot of figures that shipped in the last couple months. And now this is happening. And it's just not a great look to anyone looking in. Like, I find it more understandable as somebody who's very knowledgeable and like keeps my ear to the ground for stuff like this in the industry, where like it did catch me by surprise and I was upset when I first heard about it. But after thinking about it for a while, I was like, well, it makes sense and you can kind of see how we got here, because Hasbro. I talked a lot about this on No Prize, so I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record to people who listen to that show as well. But Hasbro had a very good time during the pandemic. Sales for stuff like toys and collectibles were up like crazy because people were stuck at home, bored with nothing to do, and they ended up just pouring a lot of money into their passions, at least when they could have their passions shipped to their home, and it wasn't going to break their bank. But now that we're coming out of it, and suddenly shipping prices are skyrocketing, the cost of oil has gone up again, and the economy in general has just been headed for a downturn for the last several months. It makes sense that they would make this decision. They announced a few months back that they were selling off a lot of E1 and were only really going to be focusing on video games and letting Paramount handle their movie stuff going forward. But this is still bad. It's very unfortunate to hear about. We haven't heard about anybody specifically on the Power Rangers development or marketing team being laid off yet, but I also don't think we would. At least not right away. The soonest I think we would hear about it is if we found out that somebody else was working on a product at another toy company. But where was I going? Oh yes, I think probably a lot of the people who got laid off were people who weren't known to the general public that worked on like smaller background things that maybe they don't need to have happening all the time or can be done by other people as well. But it still sucks. A lot of people lost their jobs. A lot of people are going to have to find new jobs. And as you said, Buster, it does sting that it's coming right at the start of the year. As somebody who likes to look on the bright side of things, I would say at least they didn't get laid off during the holidays, but right after it is still pretty bad. And my heart goes out to all those people. I hope they find work somewhere else fairly soon. And I hope this doesn't end up adversely affecting the products in the foreseeable future, because I was very optimistic about this year after that Power Rangers stream. That was like the one good thing out of Hasbro this month, and we're going to have a Transformers stream tomorrow. In fact, it will probably wrap up right before this goes public. But man, it's really hard to be a Hasbro fan at the moment because there's a lot of products coming that I'm excited for, but also the company's not doing the best stuff.
Also, Discotek. We got Discotek break. All right, freaking Discotek break because they're doing the Toku stuff.
Discotek alert! Discotek alert! Discotek alert!
Black RX is officially coming to Blu Ray.
All right, let's look at this here. Let me get a quick look at this here. Coming soon from Discotek, Kamen Rider Black X. The RX in the title is because he is a licensed pharmacist. Some said he wouldn't be back. They were wrong. All 47 episodes in beautiful full HD, 100% guaranteed Furbus free. Extras include new interviews with star Tetsuo Kuruda and in-suit actor Jiro Okama. Oh, I'm excited about that. And coming later in 2023. So we'll have this by the end of the year. The preliminary cover design is a very nice shot of black on
black cover.
Acro Batter.
The black cover's fine, but this is aesthetic. And I also do like the English logo. The English typography, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, that's really stylish.
Yeah, and I do kind of like the jokes they kind of poke. Some said they wouldn't be back. They were just the Furbus. They tongue in cheek, and that's kind of.
These guys know what they're doing. These guys seem like even more in on the fandom than Shout Factory ever has been.
The Discotek is for the fans, by the fans. Okay, that's all the Toku they had. Just Black RX.
All right, let me put this in the dock real quick before we move on.
Yeah, but it's happening later 2023. I don't know when it will be, but I'll stick on the Discotek thing. I like Discotek products. I'm sorry, I can't help myself. I have a problem.
I do want to get Black when I have some spare cash. Just it's probably not going to be for a bit.
I want to get that in Ryuki.
All right, let's get back to Power Rangers now, because we got a couple more things related to Once and Always. I guess we're going to get a tad more information about this every week for a while. The first thing is something that eagle-eyed fans found when looking at an article from Netflix themselves, basically giving the release information that everybody else had. Except there's a new little detail here in a section called Who is in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Once and Always? And it lists out the cast, but towards the end of it, we get Barbara Goodson also returns to voice iconic villain Rita Repulsa, now in robot form and aided by familiar lackeys Minotaur, Snizzard, and the Putty Patrollers. So Minotaur and Snizzard are apparently going to be in Once and Always to some capacity. We don't know if Bryan Cranston is coming back to voice Snizzard. We don't know if it's going to be like flashbacks or if they're going to get remade by Finster or something. But yeah, that's basically confirmation that that's going to happen, unless this article just turns out to be flat out wrong when we get the actual special. But that's pretty exciting because those are really cool monster designs, and they're monsters that I think a lot of casual fans know about, because like there's obviously the Bryan Cranston thing with Snizzard, but Minotaur is also in an episode that was in one of the most popular MMPR VHS tapes back in the day.
Yeah. I'm just thinking.
And
like,
also,
I'm just thinking like maybe.
I'm sorry.
If it
go
could
ahead.
be false, maybe they're just looking at Lightning. But like that's a hot. I'm pretty sure they're remaking the suits to sell those Lightning collections. Is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, and that's especially obvious because on the back of this, during this week's Lightning Storm, Josh said that the unknown MMPR monster that's been in leaked listings forever and is supposed to be in the same deluxe wave as Wild Force Red, which has just been pushed back and reshuffled so many times over the last year. He said that, according to his sources, that monster is going to be Minotaur. So, we already have Snizzard in the Lightning Collection. Now we're getting Minotaur, according to Josh. So, seems like there's a bit of brand synergy going on there, and I can dig that.
Gotta sell them toys. Like, that's what Rangers always been. Gotta sell them cool monsters.
Yeah, and I think Minotaur is also like another figure in the Lightning Collection that would do very well outside the fandom, because it's just like a generic sword and sorcery Minotaur design.
Yeah, He-Man fans would
anybody who collects He-Man or like Mythic Legions or D&D figures would want that.
And, like, they should scale to your Hasbro length. It works.
Yeah. That's pretty much all I have to say on that. So one last thing this week, our final story is that just today, Catherine Sutherland posted to her Instagram a video of some behind-the-scenes footage from Once and Always that appears to be them shooting an updated morphing sequence. And that's pretty cool. We didn't know that was happening. But now that we do, I'm pretty into that. Like, I do like the goofier thing that we've had in Team Up Specials forever of just reusing the morph stock footage and the actors suddenly being way younger for half a second. But the fact that they're putting in the extra care and detail to shoot updated morphing sequences for this shows that there really is a lot of love and passion going into this special, and that makes me all the more excited for it.
Fair, but give me my 4x3 Adam Overdrive morph, or riots will happen, and the riots I will be leading.
You're just gonna be outside of Netflix HQ with a picket
like
sign.
They're like creatively involved.
We're just walking back and forth, going Krusty Krab unfair.
I'll be like that one Snyderverse protest. Oh God. But
yeah, that is all the news that is fit to print, folks. So Buster, why don't you take us on to the new releases?
Yeah, all right. Let's get the party started with Kamen Rider Geats, episode 20, Divergence 4, Express Delivery from the Jamato. What did you think, Mr. Nader?
This is the first episode of Geats I genuinely didn't like.
It kind of was. We had a good run.
Like, it's not terrible. It's not like suddenly I think the show is shit. It's just like, this was a really off episode, in my opinion, because
it kind of just felt like a bunch of setup.
It felt like a bunch of setup, and it also felt like a bunch of concepts I've seen before with nothing really added to them. Like, the whole, like, oh, what wire do I cut bomb scenario? Like, I don't know about you, Buster, but growing up, that was like either parodied or done seriously in just about every cartoon I saw, and it was in like a bunch of commercials and a bunch of movies I saw as a kid. So that, as far as I'm concerned, that has been done to death. Yes, we've probably not seen it in Kamen Rider in a long time, but they just didn't really do anything unique with it other than the bomb is a piece of
Yeah, it's
fruit.
just kind, and I don't know. I just like that. I kind of like that. I was just more like, okay, this is an episode, and I like the Buffa stuff because Buffa's cool. It's cool to see him being punished. And I don't like. I don't know.
I actually didn't like
Oh,
that
dang,
either.
explain.
So is it just me, or is his sponsor just Azu with different colored hair?
We all thought that. Like, there's nothing wrong with reusing character archetypes, especially in like new settings.
Yeah, like we rag on this writer for like a lot of their characters and themes being very similar, but this is the first time that I've ever felt like it was just really uninteresting that they did that. Like the character just seems to have nothing unique going on aside from she eats jelly beans menacingly.
I don't know. Again, the problem with this episode is that I can't really like pick apart a lot because there's just a lot of setup for like what could be happening next or what we kind of know is happening next.
Yeah, and the setup is like really disappointingly done in my opinion. Like the initial fight between Geats and Buffa felt super off to me because they used the upbeat piano jazz insert song. And I'm like, that's not what you use for like a big dramatic fight between rivals. This feels really tonally dissonant.
They probably didn't.
This is why we need insert songs, people.
They apparently recorded a bunch of insert songs that are coming out later.
Yeah, and then like the thing at the end where they just flat out go like, yeah, Lopo is the disaster. We're gonna deal with that next episode. I was like, what the fuck? Why would you do that way? That kills all of the tension you've been building for the last 3 episodes.
Yeah, I don't know. It just kind of felt like they had the good episodes, but it's like, oh, you have to make a filler for this arc. This is the filler for this arc, you know?
Yeah, and like, I don't know, because like you can do really interesting and fun filler. Yeah, and this just isn't that. This feels...
You could like expand on characters, but it just kind of felt like we're just going through the motion.
It feels like an episode where the writers are asleep at the wheel, just trying to get from point A to point B, because they want to do something more interesting next week. And like, fair enough, but this is a 52 fucking episode show. You gotta make every episode at least a little interesting if you expect me to watch that much.
It's kind of like, this kind of reminds me of the big debate of like why are Toei shows so 50 episodes and freaking Ultraman fans wanting 50 episodes back, because I don't know. I just think if a show...
How about 35? How about we meet in the middle? I think that would be nice.
Maybe 32.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. It wasn't really...
This episode just wasn't great.
I just felt nothing about
it. And
it.
Here's the thing. Again, it is not a bad episode. It's just very poor by Geats' standard. Like, an average Geats episode, I would say, is like an 8. And there's been some episodes that I'd say are like a 9 or a 10. This is a 6.
I'd consider this a 5, honestly, because I felt nothing about it until you kind of brought up all the points. It just felt very through by the motion. Let's talk about good show now. Geats is good. It just had an off week. Hey, Dawn Brothers, episode 46, A Natsume's Night Dream. This was crazy, man.
First of all, I fucking love that title. Second of all, this is a fucking great episode.
Taro is he's that guy.
There's so much shit. There's so much shit here that like we've been waiting so long to happen, and seeing it finally come to the forefront is like, yeah.
Just the way it's directed and presented, it's like, yeah, this is Dawn Brothers, man. The welcome to Dawn.
Mm-hmm. The minute when the fucking, like, my favorite part of the episode, Taro becomes a bestial, and then Natsume snaps his bestial out of it, and he's immediately like, oh yeah, that's right, I'm the fucking coolest guy. And he just immediately goes back, grabs Tsubasa, and he's like, hey, let's go get our bodies.
Like, he's that guy, you know? He's just that guy.
Mm-hmm. Like, Dawn Brothers' storytelling has been confusing and weird at times, but it's been very consistent on, like, Don Momotaro is a Red Ranger who gets a lot of focus and is made into way more of a badass than the other characters, but you actually enjoy that for a
Well,
change.
it's just his cockiness. He like it's what made him won against the beast or won. I put in quotes against the Bestials in this episode. He has this confidence. He asserts his dominance. He has this, he's a confident lad. He's a cocky lad, and sometimes you just need to.
Yeah, because he does some jiggery pokery that basically undoes all of the Bestials. The Bestials are no longer a problem.
Like he just says, "Piss off, Bestials!" And just like they're all like, "Yeah." Because I feel like it's just that, like, it just like it's kind of a message about like, I mean, I could be reading too deep into it. It's a message about like kind of standing up for yourself, confidence, and just like, oh, you've grown so strong, you could just like tell them to piss off and they'll run away,
Yeah. And then like
The
Jiro was genuinely sad this
poor
episode.
lad.
Like the bit where he actually realizes that his life is a lie, where we finally get that moment. I was just like, "Oh no, buddy! Oh, buddy, pal! Oh, buddy, I'm so sorry." Even though like the whole show, I've been like, "Who gives a fuck about Jiro? He's a totally
I
superfluous
like him.
character."
He's nice. And again, like I think they might be filling. They might, I keyword might be filling him up to be the final boss. Like again, I keep thinking he's gonna be like this tragic like figure who just ends.
There's two schools of thoughts right now. There's people who think Jiro's going to be the final boss, and people who think Kijino's going to be the final boss.
I think Kijino is just gonna like learn self confidence, because like he just he like Natsumi is back to like Tsubasa hands, and the Bestial Natsumi is gone, which is the Bestial Natsumi.
Yeah, actual Natsumi is back, and then fucking Bestial Natsumi gets
He
murderized.
just drowns. Yeah.
Yeah, all the cats fucking gang up on her and drown her because of Taro's jiggery pokery, the Bestials can now die. And that last shot was such a freaking like, oh man, what's gonna happen next kind of
Like people were
moment.
talking about this episode like everything wrapped up, and I'm like, no, we still got things to go. This doesn't feel like a finale.
Yeah, like Kiji may work with them for a few minutes at the finale, but like just from the next time preview, you can tell he's gonna be feeling some kind of way next week.
The next week's gonna be the fallout. While like I think the last 3 episodes are gonna be let's wrap everything up at this point, But like we wrapped up so much.
Especially because the main 3 Sarah brands are now like actually officially trying to join with the Dom brothers, and they freed all the people they eliminated earlier in the show. The freaking first episode boy is back.
Just freaking brought back the guy. Did Kijino murder? No, I forgot if like that guy.
Kijino got sent to the Shadow Realm, and he came back along with all the other people that the Sarah brands had.
Back in the early episodes, remember, like when he like.
Oh god, I completely forgot about that. Yeah,
Kijino's, like not what he sees.
Yeah. But yeah, they take extra care to be like, "Hey, Yalpi's back," and I was like, "Oh god, I completely forgot about Yalpi."
Everyone is. Oh man, it's just like a lot of things get resolved, but we're still setting up for like the grand finale.
Because all the Dom brothers and the Sarah brands team up to try and fight the Sonoshi gang. I'm gonna call them, and they send like all their final attacks at them, and it does nothing. They just go like, "Oh, that tickled. We'll see you next time." So, what the fuck happens next?
Like, next episode seems to be a negotiation meeting between all the factions.
And I think we're getting the last couple Hitotsuki next week.
Little demons. Oh, did we ever get an explanation for the Hitotsuki besides they're just demons roaming around?
Nope.
I guess we'll get that next. We get the explanation for the
in a way,
I mean,
please.
We got the full like here is everything about the Bestials, not just like a piece here and there in this episode. So yeah.
Yeah, they explained the Bestials and the Mooks. They explained the Mooks, which I would never expect from a Sentai show. The Mooks are like a byproduct of the interdimensional travel that the Dawn Clan had.
Did you say interdimensional travel?
Yeah, because that's basically what they imply it is. The jumping through gates and stuff.
Zenkaiser.
And like you have the freaking Oni sister and Sorrow brother from the other timeline that show up.
Because we'll talk about why later,
Yeah. But there's that. They explain that like they were a byproduct of that, and they just want to live normal and happy lives. But the Bestials were hunting them, like they were a natural predator for them. And so that's why the Cerebrands wanted the Bestials controlled, and eventually decided to betray the Dawn Clan. Like, all that has been explained, and I applaud in a way for actually explaining that insanity.
He just does it in a very scattershot way. Like, for me, I'll be honest, for me, the lore of Agito didn't make sense until someone broke it down in a Reddit post. I linked to that in my Agito analysis because I didn't really get it until someone just broke it down. I feel like I'm gonna need another Reddit post to document all this. I mean, I'm almost like
That's hilarious, considering you've called this your favorite
I like it because of the
Sentai.
characters. The characters, that's the great thing
Mhm.
about like shows. Like I can just the lore. I'm not really like a lore guy, but if you give me a good character drama that like I still get the general gist, that's great. You know, like I don't
Yeah.
know. Like I'm not really like a story guy, especially when it comes to Sentai. I think Sentai is all about like character more so than story. You know, I mean themes is story, but you get what I mean. Like
You're into the plot.
I guess story is plot. Whatever. Never mind.
Well, story can mean a lot of things, dude. Plot means the actual driving force of the
okay.
narrative.
Fucking right. Never mind. I'm never going to take. I need to go to writer school.
That's the next arc is Buster goes to get an English
So
degree.
I can stop misusing writing terms.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get to the freaking old-ish stuff in toys because got one kind of recent thing, but it's more of a fan thing, so I want to like talk about it.
Yeah. And just to wrap up real quick, very good
very
Don
good Don
Brothers this
Brothers.
week.
Can't wait. It's gonna be hype. Hopefully. I don't want to jinx myself. Anyway, freaking old stuff and toys / because I'm gonna start with the new thing because an artist we follow, let me they're at.
We follow? Do I follow them as well?
You quote retweet some of their art. You retweet some of their art. At Sailor Hannibal on Twitter. AJQ.
Oh yeah, I know that
they're
person.
good people. And for Kamen Rider Faiz's 20th anniversary, they made a whole comic, like a whole like fanzine comic, basically a whole narrative. That's kind of an epilogue to Faiz's finale. Now this is assumed, so we're gonna get just 5 spoilers.
Yeah, I remember seeing them posting about it. I just hadn't looked
you
into it.
Can I spoil Faiz for you? Okay.
Sure.
So at the end of Faiz, I mean, you already saw the Tyson spoilers. At the end of Faiz, Takumi is kind of sitting on the bench. Now this story operates with the assumption that Takumi does not die at the end of Faiz. So they just put it like this is basically Takumi like kind of reconciling with all the characters that like he was close to that died in Faiz. Like basically like a kind of a Christmas ghost of like for lack of Christmas ghost kind of shtick. It's like
you mean a Christmas Carol
like
type story?
3 characters, and one of them's Kusaka, of course. I'm not gonna spoil the other 2 because I know you haven't seen Faiz. The Kusaka one, like this is very well drawn. Like it does kind of have a bit of like edgy fanfic, but that's a lot of the charm to it because it's pure passion. It's a pure passion love letter. The art is very expressive and emotional. Like some of the Kusaka scene, especially, like it shows really good, like just emotions while still being like very cartoon. And that last interaction with the character, you know, if you watched Faiz, the horse guy, we'll say, yeah, that hit hard. I really recommend it. It's free, but you could pay like if you want to donate like money. I really recommend supporting them. So,
It's a pay what you want type thing.
Yeah. So I really recommend checking it out. It's a wonderful love letter to like one of the most iconic Kamen Rider shows, and I really hope Keelan does more narrative content like this because it's just I find it really like the way they panel things. Whoa, super immersive.
Yeah, and I pulled it up while you were talking. If people want to check that out, the official link is eclipsesong.itch.io/last-rights.
Last rights, a Kamen Rider Faiz fanzine. Yeah, check it out. I just want to highlight that. I had to like freaking pull that up in the middle of the episode because I was like, oh yeah, I need to talk about that. That's not the only thing I've been getting up to this week. I got an SH Figuarts. Okay, so yesterday I was out with my dad. We were like, my mom like had to take the house for herself, so I was out with my dad. We went to the retro game store. And I found the freaking 2 SH Figuarts, Zenkaiser and Kamen Rider Demons. I only got Zenkaiser, but like I think I got him for a good price because he was $40 to like $100.
That's a really good price. I think that normally retails for like 50 to 80 depending on where you get them.
That's crazy, and it was boxed. It's a very nice box. Man, this thing comes with.
Yeah, and I saw you post a picture of it. It's not like a knockoff. It has that Bandai official product sticker on it.
I've been playing with it for a bit, and yeah, let's talk about some of the negatives first. I kind of see what you mean when you say like Sentai Figuarts have gappy thighs now. Like, yeah, I can kind of see what you mean by
Mm-hmm.
that. Like, in the,
Because they're trying to give it all the articulation they can, but they're also trying to maintain the look of a skin tight suit, and those two things just gel very
that's
well.
fair. But still, I don't really mind it too much. But I do kind of see like, that could annoy some people for like looking for like Senchoku Seihou level accuracy. The little blaster morpher is very well designed, very well painted. Love it a lot. The little cape is really good. It's a bit like it doesn't really like pose.
What's the
Here's
material
the
like?
thing: I'm not a toy guy and I'm not a material guy, so I don't know. But it's very like.
Is it cloth or
It
plastic?
feels like, if I may cheap out, plastic.
Does it feel like a Lego cape, basically?
Kind of feels like a Lego cape, but like it
Okay. Because I mean, it is a short hip cape, so you don't really need it to be very robust.
yeah,
And
but it's a very nice,
away.
Nice cape. And just the whole figure is well detailed. I like the little like adjustable shoulder pads. That's very fun and like kind of mimics the suit detail. And I just really love the Senkaiser is one of the best Super Sentai designs ever. So I just really love getting it in figure form, and it like kind of made me appreciate Zenkaiser more, just because I love like I need to. This is one of the funniest Sentai. I will say it. This is one of the funniest and like Sentai, and it was like super joy to watch with you week to week. I'm super grateful that we got to watch it. And, like this is just a really good.
Yeah, and I do really want that Figuarts out of the ones that have come out recently. That's pretty close to the top of my wants list. I've just been
that's fair.
money
And like as the
life.
quote unquote return of Sentai Figuarts, this is a great first step, and I really hope more Sentai gets Figuarts later, especially
I haven't watched any reviews of it yet, but I've heard Don Momotaro.
I really want that one. I really want that one. I think Tim has that one. I need my Don Brothers Figuarts, and I'm kind of sad that I can't. That Zenkaiser Black was like a bullshit exclusive because I kind of want Zenkaiser Black now. Also, this thing comes with like 5 sets of hands, like 10 hands in total.
Oh yeah, Figuarts was like one of the first storylines to do like a heavy amount of
like more so than usual, because like when I bought a build Figuart, that came with like 2 to 3 hands. This has 5, and like I get you want to get grippable.
My Senchoku Seihou Black has like 8 sets of hands.
This is a good medium between 2.
Yeah.
Then again, like my build was more of just a kind of a bullshit reissue for the 20th anniversary, but like it's fine for like what I need. Anyway, I love this thing. It is beautiful, and I hope it also actually I think like this week was Kaito Zenkaiser's birthday, so happy birthday.
The actor or the character?
Yeah, Kita.
Oh, okay.
Kita. So yeah, happy birthday to him. Yeah, I'm glad you have been immortalized in the Super Sentai legacy. And now talk about Double.
Yeah. I've been watching Double, everybody. Episodes 19 through 26 were this last week. And, hey, Axel's here now. I like him. I think he's a very well done secondary. However, all the episodes since his introduction haven't been super great. Like, it's not like the show suddenly got bad because of him. His introductory 2-parter was great, but now there's something about the show where it just doesn't have the same charm it used to me, and I'm waiting for it to, like, pick back up. And I think it might do that in the next episode, because they've spent every episode since Axel's introduction teasing the weather dopant, and it looks like he's gonna finally show up and transform and fight the Riders next week.
Yeah. Wait, who is gonna transform and fight the Riders next? Weather.
Weather.
He's like a big rival.
Yeah, he's the creepy sex pervert who has a dopant fetish.
I forgot. I completely blanked him out. I think the only thing I remember him for is killing Axel's family. So.
Yeah, because that's been the other big thing with him is Axel's family is dead, and he hates dopants because of that, and he wants to find the guy who did it and beat the fuck out of him, and they've just been hinting very heavily that it's
I will say, you're gonna get to a really good string of episodes. Like, I think episode, 28 onward, like, after you get, there's this 1 week episode with this girl, but, like, after you get to, like, it's, like, this, like, very, like...
Okay, I think that is next week, then. Is that the invisible magician lady?
That one's good. With Hurricane Blue, yeah, that one's good. There's another one. Maybe it's in between that, but I don't know.
Is it the doll dopant?
No, I know. I think you already watched that episode.
Yeah, I watched that just today, actually, and that episode wasn't bad. It just didn't super wow me. Aside from the scene where friggin' Clay Doll gets puppeted and almost blows the fuck out of the base.
I was more referring to like this episode where it's like this girl at the end, she just doesn't learn her lesson. So, like when you get to that, that's the worst.
Well,
That's the
that's
worst
not going to
double
be great.
episode in my opinion. The worst double two part.
Yeah. I should say I kind of brushed past it. I am really liking Axel. I think he's a good character. I like how he gels and kind of buds up against the rest of the cast simultaneously. And like the moment he showed up, I was like, okay, so I know from like later crossover stuff that him and Akiko get together. So how are we gonna do that? What's that plot line gonna look like? And they started setting that up in the two-parter I watched today, and I think that's fairly interesting the way they're doing that. And I like his powers a whole lot. I like the mysterious benefactor who we also just found out in the episode I watched today. It also has ties to Philip and Shotaro. I like his driver. I like his suit. The turning into a bike gimmick is cool, but like it didn't wow me because I've known about it for years. What did wow me is the frickin' engine blade though, because I always thought that toy looked super lame and dinky, but the way it's played up in the show where he's just carrying it around and it's crazy heavy before he transforms, that was really awesome. They made it like a cool Buster Sword type thing, and kind of makes me want that toy now. However, the weird like trailer cannon tank thing CGI vehicle he has, that's really lame. I don't care about that at all, and also I'd never heard of it before actually watching the show. And I think the fact that it's really lame might be why. But yeah, no, he's good. The actor's doing a great job. I thought his outfit, his civilian outfit, was really weird considering he's supposed to be like a detective superintendent. But now that they've switched from the bright red leather one to a plain black leather one, it works a lot better. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on Double right now. Like, Weather is an interesting character in how creepy and menacing he is, but I wouldn't say like I like him as much as I did.
Now it's kind of the peak of the generals. It's kind of all downhill from here.
But yeah, I think that's everything I have to say on Double this week. Like, it's not been the best string of episodes, but there's been some interesting stuff.
You'll get some good shit this week.
I'm sure.
Oh man, this was an episode. This was just a nice breather from everything.
Yeah, this is a pretty good week. But hey, if people want to keep the good times rolling, why don't you tell them some stuff they can check out, Buster?
I'm True Buster. I uploaded way too many videos this month. Like 9 to 8. So go, like, I uploaded a video on Power Rangers RPM. I uploaded a video talking about Puss in Boots villains. I uploaded the frickin' the Goodbye Airy video, which I still want you to watch.
I watched your Featherman video today. That was pretty good. Oh yeah, that's right. I just hadn't seen it before, or not in a long time, I guess. But yeah, it's good. People should go check it out.
True Buster YouTube channel at I am True Buster. Check me out on Twitter if you want to know how I'm doing personally, or just like contact for stuff. I mean, I'm open to talking at Buster Blue 3, and yeah, I try to be on Tumblr, but it's hard to stay consistent.
Well, I am the Vacuuminator. I make YouTube videos too. I'm not quite as prolific as Buster, and I honestly wish I was. I think it's very impressive that you put out that many videos this week, bud, or this month. But I try to get out at least one video a week talking about tokusatsu or toys or comics or something else that interests me. And you can watch those over at youtube.com/thevacuuminator, at thevacuuminator, whatever we're doing now. I'm also on Twitter, talking about just random scattershot thoughts about current events and whatever's going on in my life. That is at The Vacuuminator. I'm on Tumblr for similar reasons, thevacuuminator.tumblr.com. And I'm on Twitter posting daily action figure photography at _Vacuuminator. Did I say Twitter? I meant to say Instagram. That's at _Vacuuminator on Instagram for daily action figure photography. But folks, clearly I'm tired. I'm starting to mess things up. We've been going for quite a while, and we don't have anything left to talk about. So that's it for this week in Tokusatsu. Thank you for joining us. We hope to see you back here next week for, well, whatever happens that week in Tokusatsu.